The Leap Beyond the Threshold, Part 2. For years, Namdev had known only one sound, the deep, resonant clang of the temple bell. But now, the temple courtyard felt strangely silent. Without his job as the bell ringer, the days stretched long and empty. He sat on the stone steps outside the great gates, his pockets light and his heart heavy, wondering how he would provide for himself and his wife. The sun was high, and the dusty road leading to the temple was crowded with weary travelers. Namdev felt a pang of thirst and looked around for a tea shop. He walked up and down the path, squinting against the glare, but there was nothing, only sun-baked earth and empty stalls. No one was selling a single drop of warm, comforting tea to the tired pilgrims. That evening, Namdev sat with his wife, Amara. "There isn't a single tea shop for miles around the temple," he told her, his eyes suddenly bright with a new spark. "If we can't find a way forward, perhaps we must build one ourselves." Amara listened intently, a slow smile spreading across her face as she realized the potential of his simple observation. The next morning, the house was filled with the spicy, sweet aroma of cardamom and ginger. Amara worked quickly, boiling milk and tea powder in a large copper pot. She carefully prepared 20 cups of her finest brew, pouring the steaming liquid into a sturdy metal kettle that Namdev had cleaned until it shone. Namdev returned to the temple, but not to ring the bell. Carrying his kettle and a stack of small glass cups, he approached a local shopkeeper who was setting up his wares. "Tea?" Namdev asked, with a hopeful smile. The shopkeeper, parched from the morning heat, eagerly took a cup, the first of many Namdev would sell that day. Word traveled fast. Soon, the kettle man was a favorite among the pilgrims. Namdev saved every coin he earned and soon set up a small wooden table near the temple gates. He began selling crunchy biscuits alongside the tea. Children and travelers alike gathered around his little stand, grateful for the refreshment and Namdev's kind words. As the months passed, the table turned into a small wooden stall, and the stall eventually became a brick-and-mortar shop. Namdev and Amara worked side by side, hanging a colorful sign over the door that read, "The Pilgrim's Rest." They weren't just selling tea anymore. They were building a sanctuary for everyone who passed through the temple gates. Years later, the small shop had grown into a grand hotel with comfortable rooms for pilgrims to stay overnight. Namdev moved through the bright, busy lobby, ensuring every guest felt welcome. He was no longer just a man who rang a bell. He was a provider, a businessman, and a pillar of the community. A young journalist named Rian visited the hotel to write a story about Namdev's success. "How did a simple bell ringer become the owner of such a grand establishment?" Rian asked, his pen poised over his notepad. Namdev leaned back in his chair, reflecting on the long journey from the temple steps to this very room. "If I hadn't been forced to leave my job at the temple," Namdev said with a wise smile, "I would still be standing in that belfry, ringing the same bell every single day. Losing that job was the hardest thing that ever happened to me, but it was also the best. It taught me that we must never get stuck in one place just because it is familiar. We must embrace change to find our true growth."